All right, welcome to this week's video, the basics of legal structures. A quick introduction to legal structures. It's pretty much an essential topic, whether you are starting a new business venture or you've already got one and you might want to check that it's structured correctly. So understanding that structure is crucial. Now, I do want to preface this video with, none of this is intended as legal advice. I am not an attorney. I am not a CPA, and different states and different countries have different rules. So please consult a qualified attorney or CPA in your state or in your country before you form a business entity. It's a very brief conversation. It shouldn't cost you too much money, and most of them will be happy for a couple of $100s to help you out with the paperwork as well. So make sure you speak to a professional that is licensed in your area. Okay, so all right, let's crack on then. So choosing the correct legal structure is really important. It's probably one of the most important decisions you'll make as a business owner. If your business is to have any kind of success, it really affects everything, from the day-to-day operations, from what kind of taxes you'll pay, what kind of depreciation, what kind of assets you can have, and also how much your personal assets are at risk. So, being in business is quite risky. It's always been risky. It's just a fact of life. If you look at how many businesses work versus how many businesses fail, you definitely want to get all the protections you can in place from a legal, from a tax, from an asset protection kind of view. So we'll get this over with quick. Again, not intended as legal advice. This is just information. So do consult somebody qualified in your area, and I would actually pay them to have somebody do this. I have a CPA, I have a bookkeeper, and I have several attorney friends that I keep quite busy. So it's imperative that you understand that these are things that it is worth the money to pay for. Okay, so let's look at the different types of legal structures. Each has its own benefits. Each has its own kind of disadvantages. The first one is what most of you start out as, whether you realize it or not, is a sole proprietor. It is the simplest form of business entity. A lot of times it can be set up with just a DBA, depending on where you live. It gives complete control to the owner. The guy whose name is on the door makes all the decisions, but it doesn't provide any personal liability protection, which is hugely important if something goes wrong. So, maybe you're a sole proprietor selling one or two things on a website, and it's all done automatically through white labeling and fulfillment centers. I could see that working. You don't have a whole lot of personal liability when it's something like that. But if you're a house painter, you've got some employees and they're climbing ladders, you do not want to be a sole proprietor. Well protected. If there's something that can go wrong that's going to result in somebody suing you, make sure you're protected. Okay, the next is a partnership. Generally involves two people or more sharing ownership. It's relatively easy to establish, but it still doesn't offer liability protection, and it doesn't really offer a whole lot of protection when you fight. You might have a basic agreement between you, but from a legal perspective, a partnership isn't going to offer you really much level of protection. And I think the reason a lot of folks go with sole proprietorship partnerships is because they're afraid to spend the money that it takes to step to the next level and get an LLC. Now, most of you guys in here are going to be looking at, can I have an LLC, limited liability company? This is what's going to provide you with personal protection. It separates your personal assets from your business assets. If somebody comes after your business, they can't come after you. As a sole proprietor, again, if somebody falls off a ladder and breaks their back, they can sue you, they can sue the business, they can take the business's things, they can take your things. Everything kind of intermingles there as a sole proprietor. Really, the limited liability company is the bare minimum that I would recommend just from a liability protection standpoint. But not only that, it's got a little bit more flexible tax options. The things you can write off, the things you can depreciate are a little bit more favorable than the sole proprietorship. So, again, not legal advice at all. But most of you are going to settle around the LLC kind of structure just because it is I guess it's the basic level. It's the first step on that level for having personal liability protection, and separating you as a person from the business as its own entity. So there is that. Now, after limited liability company, you may want to step up to corporation. Now, a corporation does have strong liability protection, and one of the things with the structure of a corporation that you can do is, again, with the correct legal help, you can raise capital through sale of stock and through other means. It's a lot easier maybe to get loans with a corporation and with corporate credit. However, there are more regulations than being an LLC or a small proprietor, and there's more hoops to jump through, especially with the filings and with the legal work. So if you're going to have a corporation, something like that, you are definitely going to want to employ a CPA and probably also a bookkeeper. And the reason I say bookkeeper as well is that, again, you can hire a competent bookkeeper for right now $35, $40 an hour, maybe a little bit less, but you can hire a good one for $35 to $40 an hour. What are the things that you can be doing as a business owner that make you more than $40 an hour? Marketing, sales calls, following up with clients. There's a whole bunch of things that you can be doing, even the fulfillment of your service or product, that pay you more than $40 an hour. And so if your time is worth $200 an hour and you're spending it doing bookkeeping tasks, you could be leaving quite a bit on the table there. I cover that in other lessons about buying back your time and stuff like that, but that's definitely something you want to check into. So any level of business, I would highly advise having a CPA somewhere around, and below the CPA having a bookkeeper. You can work with them, you can oversee them, you can trust them. Don't leave your money in somebody else's hands. No, I do not recommend that. You should definitely have some oversight, but you can leave the execution of the day-to-day with a competent bookkeeper and you'll be fine. Last one is an S Corp, which is similar to a corporation, but it allows the owner's profits. It allows the profits to be passed directly to owner's personal income without being subject to corporate tax rates. It says, there's all kinds of different eligibility criteria depending on where you are in the world. And obviously there is more paperwork to fill out than a regular LLC. But one of my companies is an LLC structured as an S Corp. It does work. I listen to my accountant. I listen to the guys who I pay to tell me how to do this stuff. So always consult somebody qualified before you do this. Don't try and fucking solo it. Don't try and write it by yourself. All right. So here's some things you need to look at while you are considering what you're going to set up as. So talk to your CPA and go over the nature of your business. What is it that you sell? What goals do you have for your business? How much volume are you trying to do? Because you'll use a different entity at $50,000 in sales per year as you will in $50,000 in sales per week. And I know that for a lot of you guys, small businesses start out as a side hustle. So maybe you need a smaller service in the beginning, something like sole proprietorship, and then you jump to an LLC, and then you set up the LLC differently as an S Corp 3 years from now. I don't know, but that's for your CPA to talk you through. You're going to want to look at where your liabilities lie. You're going to look at what taxes you're going to have to pay, and you're going to have to look at the future needs and growth of the company. Is there a way to take income from this company and profits from this company and spread it around as loans to other companies? Who knows, right? But there's all kinds of ways that a good CPA can help you to pay the legal minimum amount of taxes. I believe in taxes. I think we should all pay our share in society. And I also believe that the tax structure and the LLC layouts and the way that companies are structured is there for you as a business owner to understand and to take advantage of. So consult with your legal advice, consult with your financial advisor, and figure out what the best way is for you to remain legal, but have as little tax liability as possible year over year. Okay, so you're going to want to register your business name, which is relatively easily done. Let me up here now so you can see the stuff here. You want to register your business name, make sure it's unique. Small business surgeon, I was surprised was available, but not only was it available as a website, a .com, it was available on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. So when I came up with the business name, I was quite surprised to find it available. So is your business name available? Does it describe what you do? Okay, so have a think when you're setting this up and naming your company. Make sure it is unique, and then you're going to want to register it with everybody you can think of to protect yourself. One business I forgot to buy the .org for, just because I forgot, and 6 months into it, somebody had cloned all our web assets and were selling a similar product with the same brand name on a .org site. So that was a lesson there. We had to have a cease and desist and get that sorted out. But make sure when you're registering your business name that not only it makes sense, but that you register it in as many places as possible. Don't forget to get whatever permits and licenses you need when you're starting out your business. And then the next thing you will get is an EIN number. Again, you can file this stuff online. You can do it yourself, but I highly recommend against that. Get your CPA, go sit with them, maybe talk to an attorney that you know, maybe go buy somebody a cigar and pick their brain at the cigar lounge. It happens all the time. But get this stuff done for you. Don't try and do it by yourself. And you'll hear people say, oh, it's easy. You can file an EIN. Yeah, it's easy. I can file one. But the point is, if you pay a professional to do it, everything's going to be done right. It's all going to be done in the right place at the right time. And so that's that. Once you've got your EIN, you can open your business bank account and you're pretty much good to go. So those are the things you will need. Basics of legal structures. Just don't shortcut it. Just don't. Keep your banking separate. Make sure you've got a business checking account and a personal checking account. Don't mix that shit up. And make sure you talk to a qualified professional and choose the right structure, because choosing the right legal structure, getting the right name, and properly setting up and registering your business is it's the best foundation you can give yourself. The last thing you want to do is toss some shit at the wall and go out half-cocked on this and have to go back and fix it later. So it is worth the $500 or $1,000 that you spend in the beginning using a professional. And so I want to make clear that my recommendation is to hire somebody that is an expert. All right, that is going to do it for this video. Homework this week. Take a look and see what kind of business structure that you think you should have. And if you don't have one already, maybe it's time to research a good local CPA that can help you get this all set up. All right, that's going to do it from me. I'll see you back in the forums. Remember, if you have any questions, post them in there. I'll get to them. And we are live every week with a live Q&A where I do my best to answer every single question that you guys post. All right, I will see you in the class.